Hey yo, what's good, people? It's your boy reporting straight from the front row of a Sonics game in the 90s. And back in the 90s, before highlight reels lived on Instagram and before kids started calling anything a dunk, there was Shawn Kemp, the Rain Man himself. A dude who didn't just dunk on people, he baptized them. And just like his game, his sneakers were loud, aggressive, and straight up chaotic in the best way. Some were official heat, others were honorary joints he made famous just by stepping on the court, but every pair he rocked helped shape the wild, neon-splashed, high-flying era of 90s hoops. Today, we're diving into the full story of Shawn Kemp's sneakers, from the legendary Kamikaze line to the Rainman joints and everything in between. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into the Rainman sneaker legacy. Let's roll. When the Kamikaze I dropped, it wasn't just a sneaker release, it was Reebok finally giving Shawn Kemp his rightful throne. The Rainman was already terrorizing the league with those tomahawk dunks, but this shoe made it official. Kemp had a signature line and it was as bold as his game. This was peak mid-90s Seattle energy, forest green, white, and black ripping across the upper like somebody took a paintbrush and said, "Let me match the chaos this man brings to the rim." The Kamikaze I brought Reebok's Hexalite cushioning, a chunky midsole, and that aggressive Mobius-style paneling that instantly told you, yeah, this ain't a quiet shoe, this is a dunk shoe. Kemp rocked these during the 94-95 season when the Sonics were one of the most watched teams in basketball. And honestly, the Kamikaze didn't just debut a line, it announced a cultural shift. Reebok had something to compete with Nike, and the streets felt it. If the Kamikaze I was the opening punch, then the Kamikaze II was the knockout blow. This is the shoe everybody remembers, the pairs that really stamped Shawn Kemp into the 90s sneaker history. When you think about Rainman, you're probably picturing him soaring through the air in a pair of these, dragging the Sonics to a legendary 95-96 finals run. The design went even crazier this time. Those big, jagged zigzags slicing across the upper like a lightning strike. Reebok leaned all the way into the attitude. Louder colors, sharper lines, and a silhouette that practically screams mid-90s NBA mixtape. This wasn't a try to blend in sneaker. This was a move out the way, somebody's about to get dunked on sneaker. And the timing was perfect. The Sonics won 64 games that year. Kemp was an all-star. Gary Payton was talking trash and surround sound, and the entire league was fashionable chaos. And the Kamikaze II rode that wave straight into sneaker culture royalty. To this day, this is still one of the Reebok's most iconic basketball shoes ever, arguably their best non-Iverson model, period. Now we're stepping into the non-signature heat, the pairs that Kemp didn't officially sign off on, but he made them his anyway just by lacing them up. And first up is the Reebok Rainman, a shoe that lives right in that sweet spot between not a signature and everybody thought it was. The Rainman came out in the mid-90s as a part of Reebok's big man lineup. But come on, it literally carried his nickname. Even if it wasn't officially branded as a Kemp signature, the energy around it felt like one. The shoe had that bulky 90s build, the kind of padding that made you feel like you could box out a bus, and the classic Reebok DNA that matched Kemp's physically overwhelming game. He wore these during those wild Sonics years, and every time he cocked back one of those arm-snatching dunks, the sneaker world took notes. It didn't break the culture like the Kamikazes, but it cemented itself as a cult favorite. The kind of pair real 90s heads remember, even if the mainstream forget to put respect on it. Now, the Rainman II kept that same aggressive 90s energy, but refined the look a little bit, almost like Reebok realized, yeah, Kemp's not just a dunk machine, this man is a whole franchise. While still not an official signature model, this was clearly built with his style in mind. The design leaned into a sleeker, more aerodynamic look compared to the original Rainman. You had those sweeping midsole lines, the layered upper, and that classic Reebok vector sitting loud on the side. It was a shoe meant for power players, big bodies moving with speed, force, and a whole lot of attitude. Sound familiar? Kemp wore these during the later stages of his Seattle era and even into the transition period before Cleveland. They matched his game perfectly. Explosive first step, violent finishes, and that underrated footwork a lot of casual fans forgot he had. The Rainman II didn't make the noise the Kamikazes did, but if you were paying attention in the 90s, you knew this was a real hoop shoe. By the time the Rainman III showed up, Shawn Kemp was deep into the late 90s transition. New team, new jersey, new chapter. And this shoe matched that energy perfectly. It was still built around his game, but it had a different vibe, more streamlined, more modern, and a little more experimental with the design. The Rainman III leaned into that late 90s Reebok aesthetic, curved lines, bold overlays, and that chunky midsole stability big men needed. This wasn't the wild zigzag chaos of the Kamikaze. It was more, I'm still bullying big men, but I'm trying out a new look while I do it type of vibe. You could see the evolution in the silhouette, less loud, more controlled, but still unmistakably tied to the Rainman style. This pair flew under the radar for a lot of people, especially compared to the flashier models from earlier years, but the real 90s hoop historians remember it. The shoe that showed Kemp wasn't just highlight tapes and posters. He could evolve, adapt, and still bring that smoke. Now this one right here, the Shroud, is a wild card of Kemp's 90s catalog. The shoe that didn't carry his name wasn't branded as a signature, but became unforgettable because of how different it was. Dropped in the late 90s, right as Kemp moved to Cleveland, the Shroud was built around one dramatic idea: hide the entire shoe. It had the full zip-up covering wrapping around the upper, giving it a sleek, almost glove-like look. When it zipped, it was smooth and clean. When unzipped, it unraveled a traditional lace basketball sneaker underneath. It was mysterious, futuristic, and definitely ahead of its time. And even though it wasn't officially part of Kemp's signature line, Reebok leaned into the association hard. The design fit his new era, less neon Sonics chaos, more cold weather Midwest grit. He wore them during a time where his game was shifting, but that powerful dunker's aura was still there, still powerful, still intimidating. For some sneaker lovers, the Shroud became a cult favorite, not a signature, but instantly recognizable as a Kemp shoe. It's the one that proved his footwear legacy didn't end with the Kamikaze. It evolved. And there you have it, folks. One of the most explosive forces to ever step on the NBA court. From the Kamikaze line that shook the mid-90s to the honorary joints he turned into cult classics just by rocking them. Kemp's footwear story hits the same way his dunks did: loud, aggressive, and unforgettable. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment telling me your favorite Shawn Kemp sneaker. And as always, stay tuned. More classic 90s heat is coming your way. And until next video, you already know, stay laced up, folks. I'm out.